Hey YouTube, it's Taki with TaqiTech. Alright, so we are in episode 11 of the Complex Timesheet series, and in this episode we're going to talk about printing Model 2. So we'll head on over to our spreadsheet here, and as you can see, Model 2 should look like this. First in, 6 a.m. First out, 10 a.m. In, 10:30 a.m. Last out, 2:30 p.m. Should have a break time here, 10 a.m. at 3 o'clock. We go back to the actual sheet. We see that the time in is 6 a.m. Time out is 2:30 p.m. Hopefully we'll get total hours equals 8. Hopefully we'll get total hours here equals 8. And then there's an error that I need to fix that I'll do hopefully on the fly in this episode. If not, it will be the next episode. And basically this isn't when we talk about the big picture of this, it's not that hard. Basically, we already have the code. We're going to throw the 6 a.m. here. We're going to take this 10. We're going to put it right there. We're going to add these two together and put that right there. So we're going to add B6 and C6 together, throw it in H2, and then we're going to end out with I2 printing D2. So it's not going to be that the code that I wrote is not actually that hard. It wasn't that hard to figure that out. I just wanted to do that to stay consistent with our models here. It's going to be a little bit more complex once we get to Model 3 because we're going to have a drop here. We're going to have an in and another out. So what else did I want to mention on this one? Okay, well, let's get to the code here. Let's jump in. I'm going to be using the same new main method that I've been using all along. For the time being, I've commented out loading new breaks because we're not going to load any breaks here. Like I said, we're going to statically, so to speak, print those values from the worksheet itself. There's not going to be any need to load anything. I've called the print routine here fake print. And let me just go here to the print module. If you take a look at this, going up here to fake print, it's 3 lines of code. Basically what I'm saying is change G2 to the value of B6, so that's going to give us our 10 a.m. Then I declared a variable up here as a date, and it could have been a string as well, and we'll talk about that in future episodes. I have a function called add time that we'll talk about in just a second. And then basically H2 equals what I get here when I add 6, what would it be? 6C to 6B. We'll go over here and look on the sheet. So that 6 is, 3. So it's row 6, column 3, or column C, 30 minutes, and we're adding it on to 10. So we're going to get 10:30. And let's just take a look real quick at the add time function, calculate module. And here it is right here. This is something that I wrote a while ago. As you can see, basically, it's all built really on an Excel internal function or native function to Excel. When I say native, I mean something that Excel already brought to it. Actually, it's not even, it's probably more technically right to call it native VBA. It's something that Visual Basic for applications brought with it, and that's that date add function. The first thing you're going to use in a date add function is the different delimiter, is what they call it. This quotation lowercase n quotation mark is the minutes delimiter. So it knows right away what it's going to return to me is minutes. No, it's going to actually return to me the time, but I'm telling it what I'm passing in with this next value. This is the number of minutes, and this is the actual time that I'm passing it in. So 10 will be here, and the 30 minutes would be here. So, and it will know its minutes by this n here. I'm going to go quickly to a website here. Let's see here. So here we have the Excel date add function returns a date after which a certain time date interval has been added. Here are the different intervals. You've got year, quarter, month, day of the year, day, weekday, week, hour, minute, second. As you know, we're using minute. That's n. So that's the value that you put between the quotation, and it returns a date value, which is part of the reason why we're going to use the date function, even though I think we could probably use string and it will work. And here's some actual coding results here. So we're going to add two, what is Q? 2 quarters, wow. Okay, so we're adding 2 quarters, which would be 6 months basically, to November 22nd, 2003. So we should probably get, what, May 22nd? Yep, 2004, the next year. M is months. Yep. 5 months to November, so we would get April 22nd, 2004. So as you can see here, this is a pretty good site, Tech on the Net. I think I might have shown you guys this before, maybe not. But let's let me see where we're at with time here. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Let's jump into the code here and let's start running things and see what happens. So let me get my spreadsheet up here. As you can see, I am in Superstar. With not the testing environment. Since I'm actually going to be printing things, I'm going to save this as, and we're going to save it as a test version. Move over a little bit here. Okay, so now it's a special test version, since what's going to happen is I'm going to print things and I don't want it to ruin everything I got here. We want it to look 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., and 2:30 p.m. All right, so let's first off come here and jump into the code here. So we're going to go to our main method. And one of the very first things I do here is I make sure that that Superstar sheet is selected so I don't end up printing over one of my models, or printing over, if I put this sheet into a workbook with a lot of other sheets, I don't want it to print on the wrong sheet. So you might have talked about that before. I'm just going to quickly go over some of those. I'm just going to quickly step through that. So we're clearing the sheet here. Let me see if I can kind of make this smaller here. So this is going to initially clear B2 and B3. So these two here. And you know what? I'm going to also add no, we shouldn't need to clear anything within this row G here. We just need to make sure that this gets fixed, because I shouldn't say 8. So B2, B3 is fine. Bring it back. Let's start running it. I think when I run it though, let's see here. Okay, here we go. So we see B3 was already empty, B2 is now empty. Okay, let's go back to the code. And this is clearing the schedule, which has already been cleared. All right, calculate and print time, which, print total time. Okay. And let's see here, if we're going to go into, I think we went into a function that I forgot to talk about. Maybe we will talk about that in a future video. So we see that 8.5 here had changed to 8. Okay. I'm going to print our 8 a.m. now, or 6 a.m. I'm sorry, and it should be coming right now. There it is. Now we're into the function that we talked primarily about today, and that's the fake print function that I wrote. Basically, it's just going to change all these values, and we don't need to. We could probably put it right here, so we should see this 10 a.m. go here. Then it's going to add the 10 a.m. to the 30 minutes and go here. then it's going to take the 230 and put it here. Real simple. So there's a 30 minutes that we already bounced into add time and we're already out. So, and print last out, which we saw before. That's real simple. There's our 230. Just end sub, end sub. Okay, one thing I want to talk about, let's just take a look at it real quick. Does that look like our model 2? Yep, 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 10:30, 2:30. There it is. Real simple. And you probably wouldn't, you notice I'm not pressing the button here. You probably wouldn't even need to even write a program to really do this. You could probably do this all in just native Excel without any VBA. This part here, so we start getting a little bit more complex. I'm not sure if you'd be able to use native Excel or not. Maybe. As we start getting really complex, there's no way. You would need VBA in order to do this project. Okay. Real quick here. So if you could tell here, so we got total hours 8 when it's actually 8:30 because we're counting the break. And one of the functions that we talked about this a little bit when I initially wrote calculate and print total time is this total break time and get total break time. And let's take a look at this get total break time. I'm not even sure. I'm thinking it's in the calculate. Let me see here. Get day hours. No, it's not here. Let me see here. So I'm going to do a search through the current project called break. Get total break. Okay, there we're calling it there for daily hours. We're calling it there again. Here it is. So it's a function. Let's take a look at this. So basically row number is 6. And we're going to go through 6 and 3. So we're going through this right here until it equals nothing, until we don't have anything. And remember, we don't want to put a space there because we ran into problems with that before on our former project. So then so this is calling like something called add breaks. And that's a double that I have up here. And I'm basically adding this value to that double space in the memory. And then we increment the row number and we iterate through it again. And then we'll return the total of it. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm not sure why I have it as a double, because it's an integer. Because, well, if I convert it to a decimal, if I convert it from minutes to what it actually is on the 100 scale, it would be a decimal. I'm not sure. I might end up changing that at some point, but that looks pretty good. This video is starting to run a little long. I think I've covered everything I want to here. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit. I don't even think we need to talk more about the data add part of it. I think we covered that because I even went through the whole. Yeah, so data add is covered. So the next video, we'll work on model, is it 3? So you're going to see a different approach to model 3. And we'll talk about more of that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, take it easy.